Hey there and welcome back. Or if this is the first time that you've joined me here, I would like to welcome you. Thank you so much for being here. In today's video, I am going to take you through a counting method for finger symbols that is going to absolutely revolutionize the way that you play and understand your zills. So if you are ready for a zill revolution, join me here. My name is Sahira and I'm here to teach you the beautiful art of belly dance. Okay, folks, so a little bit of backstory before we begin. When I first started learning to play the finger symbols approximately 22 years ago, I was taught with a method that I like to call nowadays the dancer method for counting finger symbols. It pretty much counts how many strokes of the symbols you're going to play before you take a pause and then begin again. You might already be familiar with this if you've played finger symbols for any time at all. So perhaps our famous gallop that we like to play is called 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. It's counted 1, 2, 3 because you stroke the symbol once, then twice, then a third time, and then you take a break. And so that's how I learned all the finger symbol counting. And honestly, it worked for me for quite some time. But I was a musician before I was a dancer. And about 10 years into my finger symbol / belly dance journey, I realized that this method made it incredibly confusing for me to understand where the symbols fit in the dance. So, for example, imagine you're doing like a simple step touch, right? A step touch, and you're doing 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I step on 1, I touch on 2, I step on 3, I touch on 4. And now my symbols are going 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Now what I've got is two different counting methods in my head, because while I'm stepping on 1 and touching on 2, what I'm saying in my head for my finger symbols every single time is 3. So my finger symbols are going 3, 3, 3, 3. And when I go home and I write this down, I go to a workshop, I write it down, I go home, and I'm like, great, I wrote the numbers 1 through 7 on this piece of paper, and now I have no idea what it means to me, right? And back when I first started playing finger symbols, we didn't all have a recording device in our pocket, right? Where you could just like record the teacher singing the symbol pattern or what have you. So I had to write it down, and what I wrote down didn't help me at all once I made it home, right? So I quickly realized that the way we count the dance, the way you already count the dance, is very similar to the way musicians count music. And there was just a tiny piece missing to allow myself and other dancers to count the finger symbols in the way that musicians count. Because I always say, the minute you put those finger symbols on your fingers, you, my friend, are a musician. And so this is why I am such a huge fan of what I call the musical counting method, because we are going to count the finger symbols in a way that not only will match what any musician you go to play with is going to be saying if they speak English, right? But also it's going to allow you to notate finger symbols in a way that is always recognizable and repeatable when you get home from a workshop. And the way you are playing the symbols is going to precisely match the way you are counting your movements as well. So if this sounds like something that you would like, put on your finger symbols and join me. Alrighty, folks, so I hope you have put on a fabulous pair of finger symbols, and I would love to know, what finger symbols are you using today? Today I am using my Saroyan Afghanis in brass, which are kind of my favorites, and I use these, I would say, like 70% of the time. So let's talk about this musical counting method. The good news is you already know like half of the process. You already know a good half of this counting method because you're a dancer, and dancers count too. I say the difference is that dancers, we tend to count to 8, and musicians tend to count to 4, and so, but it's all good. It's just 4 times 2. We can all count to 8 really well. And we can use it whether we count to 4 or count to 8. This method is going to work great for you. So when we are dancing, let's go back to that step touch again, right? If we're thinking 1, 2, 3, 4, those are the beats, right? On the beat, on the beat, on the beat. Then sometimes when we do something a little bit faster, your teacher or you'll count it as 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So that and goes in between the beat. That is the upbeat, and that divides every beat in half, right? So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Those are technically eighth notes, but you don't really need to know that right now, right? That is something you're probably also already familiar with. So now you are officially halfway there. When we play the finger cymbals tend to live in an arena that is one step faster than those eighth notes. We call them 16th notes because there's 16 of them in a measure. Not super important at this moment, but it's twice as fast as those eighth notes. So say we have a little hip bump going on here, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and what happens if we double time it? How do we count it? 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a, 4 E and a. Okay, so now if this is the first time you ever heard that, let's go back and I'm going to say it a little bit slower. You're going to still hear 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and embedded in this 16th note counting. So ready? Here it is. 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a, 4 E and a. So what have we done here? We've added two other syllables. We've added an E and an in addition to the number 1, 2, 3, 4 and the and that we already had. So back when I was learning to play the flute, when I was like 10, I would always tap my foot. Shout out to all my band friends out there. Yeah, I would tap my foot to get the beat. 1, 2, 3, 4. In fact, I still tap my foot when I learn a new piece of music. Seriously. So when the foot touches the floor, it's a beat. When the foot is at the apex of the lift, it is the and, it is the upbeat, and then back to the beat. What we've done now is we've taken this single beat and divided it into 4 sections, which is kind of where the finger cymbals tend to lie when we play, right? So we have 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a, 4 E and a, if you were going to be tapping your foot the whole time, as a good band student does, yes? So these are 16th notes. And while it's a little bit of a learning curve, right, you have to get your mouth around the 1 E and a. And if you do not speak English as your first language, I applaud you for getting your mouth around those syllables because it's a mouthful. Or you could find something that works similarly for you. But the way that musicians here in the States count it and the way you'll hear it counted on many of my instructional Zill videos is exactly that way. 1 E and a. So now we can use this and we can count our finger cymbals in the same way we count our dance movements. And that way our brain isn't split divided between trying to figure out one versus the other. So let's go ahead with your cymbals and let's play those 16th notes. I'm going to invite you to say it before you can play it because I'm a huge fan of the idea that if you can say it, you can play it. So we're going to say the 1 E and a couple of times through, and then we're going to play it alternating in our finger cymbals, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left. Bonus points if you can play it and say it at the same time. Ready? I'm going to invite you to tap time with your body, right? So I'm just doing like a little step together. So I'm feeling 1, 2, 3, 4. We'll count those 16th notes. Here we go. It's 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a, 4 E and a, 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a, 4 E and a, 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a, 4 E and a, 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a, 4 E and a. Breathe. All right, let's try it a little bit slower with the finger cymbals, yeah? So continue to say it if you'd like that challenge, and we're going to play it 2, 3, 4. We'll go on 5, 6. Here we go. It's 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a, 4 E and a, 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a, 4 E and a, 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a, 4 E and a, 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a, 4 E and a. Pause. Nicely done. So now that you have the idea of those 16th notes in your head and you're starting to work your way around the syllables that we use to subdivide those beats when we count them out loud or when you notate it on paper, I'm going to invite you to rethink the gallop. The 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 that I mentioned at the beginning, right? The thing that didn't match with the feet, you write it down on some paper. It doesn't make any sense when you get home, right? How would we count that gallop with the musical counting method? You can pause me and think about it if you'd like to challenge yourself. I'll wait. Or I'll count it for you here. We're going to be counting the gallop. Let's look at I'm tapping my foot, right? This is my foot, so you can see it. I'm going 1, 2, 3. The gallop fits like this, and 1 da 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 da. So let's say you're learning a new rhythm. You're like, "Ooh, this gallop thing is cool. I want to write it down. I want to remember it later." If you're tapping your foot, you hear that beat of the music. Da 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 da. Notice it starts on the it starts on the upbeat, and it ends on the downbeat. Da 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 da. So using our handy dandy musical counting method, and a 1, and a 2, and a 3, and a 4. Yeah? So all the gallop is a 16th note pattern minus the E, right? If you're talking about our syllables, it doesn't have the E, which comes right after the downbeat. There's a pause there. And a 1 is silent. And a 2, and a 3, and a 4, and a 1. Yes? All right. Mark your time. Let's say it. Here we go. And a 1, and a 2, and a 3, and a 4, and a 1, and a 2, and a 3. Let's play. And a 1, and a 2, and a 3, and a 4, and a 1, and a 2, and a 3, and a 4, and a 1, and a 2, and a 3, and a 4, and a 1, and a 2, and a 3, and a 4. Nice job. So there you have it, Zilstar. You have now had an incredible introduction to the musical counting method, and the sky is the limit for where you can go with playing your zills while dancing to the rhythm of the music and notating it so that you can recreate it later at home. How did you like it? I would love to hear from you. If you enjoyed this tutorial, please be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel so I can send you fantastic free belly dance and finger cymbal content every single week. And also, I would like to offer you a special little freebie for having joined me here today. I have a downloadable musical counting method worksheet that will show you everything that we did here today, have it all set up for you nice and easy as a reference. So if you want to go ahead and just click on the link below, you can get that free musical finger cymbal counting method worksheet right now. I would love to make music with you again soon.